a founder today is running 10 businesses.
Wow.
Because they know that money can do things, money can get you things, which helps you avoid slavery.
What was your childhood like?
Very independent. I remember I scribbled the logos of my company.
Wow.
This was like maybe I was in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade.
Really?
My biggest fear is that what if.
Hi everyone, welcome to a dash of inspiration. Today I have someone very special with me, a man who's changed the way Indians drink their coffee. Yes, you heard that right. Somebody who's actually entered an extremely competitive, legacy-driven mainstream market, come out on top and built one of India's most iconic and well-loved coffee brands, all while having a lot of fun. So welcome to the show, Bharat. So happy to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Bharat, everybody knows Rage Coffee as a brand. Everybody loves your podcast. But today, I think what we want to know is a little bit more about the man behind the journey. And I want to begin by asking, you've had a very unorthodox foray into entrepreneurship. Tell me a little bit about, what your early years were like. And at what point were you like, yeah, I want to do something different. I want to build my own thing.
That's going to take a while to get back to. But I think my journey was maybe unorthodox to some extent, as you mentioned, but it was also a lot to do with, being at the right place at the right time, so to speak, or maybe created by myself. I think the genesis of any entrepreneur lies, or to some extent at least, is in their childhood.
Really? What was your childhood like?
Very independent.
Did you grow up thinking that, when I grow up, I want to be an entrepreneur? Did you have some other dreams?
I remember when I used to study as a pretty good student, I would say, but all of my notebooks, on the back of the last page, people used to, we all as kids scribbled some things.
Yeah.
I remember I scribbled the logos of my company.
Wow.
This was like maybe I was in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade.
Really?
I was only making logos of my company. So it never occurred to me that I thought maybe everyone does it.
Wow.
But no, so as long as I can remember, as far as I can remember, I wanted to do something different.
And not follow the same path.
Yeah, I was never interested in taking up a job, so to speak. I was very interested to be an athlete when I was young.
Wow.
Just being a leader. I think one thing that I kind of realized early on, that happened to me was that I'm good at kind of collecting people for a mission.
Yeah.
For some sort of a project, or I played football. So sports was my first love. So I ended up on the field, on the field most of my time, or on the tracks, winning medals.
Wow.
So that was my first love. But I think culminating my childhood, just thinking about it now, that it was a lot to do with saying that I believe that there is some edge that I have.
Right.
Everyone has an edge. Everyone has something that some people were really good at, let's say, arts or just creative work. Some people were really good at speaking.
Yeah.
I think what I realized early on was that I'm good at thinking differently. And that sort of helped me in everything that I did. Also, a lot of, leadership, but not like loosely, like if there is a mission that one can get on, let's just go all in.
That's amazing. A lot of young people grow up, with this little edge. But what happens is that society actually makes them believe ki, no, too hard, don't do this, do the normal route. I'm sure you must have faced that too, because that's just how most of us grow up. And I also know that, you ended up doing what a lot of people covered, get a job at a Big 4 firm, and you left in 4 days. What was that like? How did you decide that this is not for you within the first 4 days? And was that scary? What was your mental framework like?
I have so many incidents, if I tell you, which you will feel like that was nothing. I went for my first interview in like shorts, and this is 2010.
Right.
I started up my first business when I was 16.
Wow. At 16?
At 16. This is, again, I was in school. So many things, like, for example, missing my pre-boards for playing sports, like for playing football under 14.
Wow.
That was the story of my life. By the time I was, I think, in 12th grade, I had realized that so the rebel in you sort of starts to speak to you.
Yes.
But it was sort of paying off because I dreamt of being the head boy of my school when I was in 5th, 6th, and I became in 10th grade.
Wow.
It was a 5-year long process.
That was your first tryst with leadership.
Yes, you can say so, but it's also like, it's just that if you set your mind to something, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It can work out if a lot of things go right.
Yeah.
So the bet that I always like to play on is what if it works? What if? That what if is still lingering every day, every morning. I think I wake up with this what if. What if I just make that one call? What if I just go and do that one meeting?
Yeah. But you choose to look at the glass half full.
There is no other way. You cannot be doing anything.
Yeah, from a place of fear.
Fear is there. You have to channelize it, basically. You have to channelize your fear. I will never tell you that, Elon Musk is not fearful. I mean, I'm sure Donald Trump just won the elections. If you see his journey, very inspiring. But fear really motivates you, isn't it?
I mean, yes, truly, mostly for entrepreneurs it does. But I think fear has also become, a very big catalyst to change. Right? Which is, if you're not scared of something, then maybe you don't want to change it. So what was that catalyst in your life, right? Where you said, okay, you were clearly doing a lot of things. You'd already built your first venture, which was Poster Gully. I know because I shopped from it.
Thank you.
How did you go from building Poster Gully to suddenly one day waking up and saying, hey, listen, I'm going to disrupt this multi-billion-dollar market and I'm going to get somebody as incredible as Virat Kohli to back it and I'm going to make an iconic brand. What was that catalyst moment?
There was no catalyst moment.
Okay, so what was the series of events?
There's no one moment ever. I don't think that works. It works like that.
Yeah.
No, it's a process. It's a
journey.
It's a journey, and for me, it's been more like now so many years, also more than a decade of just thinking for the next decade.
Right.
So the catalyst is always, I think, very personal.
Yeah.
It also comes from a place of what your real aspirations are, what really drives you.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that what if I never meet my true potential?
Yeah.
What if I am not the best version of what I can be, of what I was put on this earth to be?
Yeah.
And that is enough for me to say that let me just do things or aim at doing things which are dramatic, so to speak, because nothing that's worthwhile is less dramatic. It's very dramatic always.
That's so beautiful you said that because, I speak to so many entrepreneurs and a common recurring theme is everybody talks about actually being put on this earth to actually realize their purpose and how we spend our entire life trying to just figure out that purpose. So was your purpose to just build iconic brands or was your purpose to disrupt a big industry? What do you believe at this point your purpose has been so far?
See, when I started my entrepreneurship journey, the idea that was, or the thing that was driving me the most was relevance. I wanted to show the world or show people around me that this path that I am taking is different and it's something that truly defines me.
Right.
So it was initially a lot to do with saying that I don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing, and there is more to me than just working in a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And back in the day, 12, 13 years back, and especially as a 21-year-old starting out, e-commerce or generally just marketing or just this world that we live in today, which is like, a lot of kids will not understand it.
Yeah.
It was a big bet to say that I'm going to stop everything. I'm going to leave some of this, money on the table or just some of these very easy to have things coming from a very middle class background, saying that I'll start something on my own for which I have no background, no idea. Yeah. I just had some sort of sense that there could be something here and let me just connect the pieces. Let me just connect the dots.
Yeah.
It became later on to say that from relevance, I moved to wealth creation.
Right.
I thought that, it's money can do things, money can get you things, which helps you avoid slavery. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah,
so that's what my intent was, and then it, in the last couple of years.
But weren't you scared like building, like most people now that when they build businesses, they're trying to build like something which is an anomaly, right? A new AI tool, something that doesn't exist, user behavior that doesn't exist. It's actually super hard to build in a category that existed. When you started building your brand, people that you were competing with had billions of dollars marketing in India. How did you decide to sort of, avenge that? How did you build your brand in a way that despite all of those massive companies, your brand really stood out on its own and it still has a massive fan following? How did you do that?
See, I always say that when you, as a founder, if you, or as a leader, or anybody who's trying to disrupt anything in life, anything in this universe, if you have this insight, this one or two, whatever, like this insight that can, and you are convinced that that can make or break this category, that's good enough.
Yeah.
That's good enough. You cannot kind of know all the pieces upfront.
Yeah.
But if that insight is strong enough and there is conviction that you have and within your own hypothesis of maybe a primary research or secondary research or your own strong instinct about something,
Yeah.
one should go for it. And that was it.
What was your insight?
My insight for coffee as a category was that the number one thing was that it's highly underpenetrated in India.
Yeah.
This is 2018-19. So the one big bet was that as a category, it will become large.
Yeah.
And it will become humongously large than what it is today. The insight was that a lot of these young consumers, a lot of the people who are just entering their teens and exiting their teens, their de facto drink will become coffee.
Yeah.
And the numbers are going to be so huge that there will be a couple of brands that will do really well. The third was also a lot to do with health and wellness. As a athlete, as somebody who really propagates or really believes in the country being healthy.
Yeah.
Coffee has gone through its own journey of saying it's healthy, unhealthy, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
it's still one of the most naturally available
Yeah.
beverages.
Yeah.
And it's only one of the two naturally available beverages that one can
Yeah.
enjoy. So I think, a lot of these things, the macros in place. I also, from competition point of view, I always believe that if you in any large category where large businesses are going to be built, if you always get scared of the competition,
Yeah.
then you will probably not be able to build a large business.
Yeah.
So much has changed since then.
Yeah.
The category has evolved tremendously. The market has evolved. The
Yeah.
retail landscape, the distribution landscape has evolved.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot to do with your insights.
Absolutely.
And your courage, obviously.
And I remember this anecdote. So how I first discovered your brands, I was running my agency and most of my people are like 20, 22. And we were working really late night one day. And I was like, why don't you guys just order some coffee? And they used a very popular online platform at that point. And then suddenly this guy comes and be like, we need rage. And I'm like, what is he talking about? I had no idea what it was. And everybody in my office, they were all 22, 23. They were obsessed with rage. And I loved that they didn't say rage coffee. They said rage. So you've clearly done a phenomenal job of building a brand. And I want to know a little bit about why you decided to call it Rage and what was your thinking behind building the brand?
Brand exists in the mind of the creator, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And brand has to have a certain body of its own, it's a living person. For me, a brand is a living person.
Yeah.
It's somebody who has certain characteristics and certain sort of values and mission and vision. And, like I have a vision for myself, the brand has to have a vision for itself.
Yeah.
So you create basically a person.
Yeah.
And this person then will have friends, right? So what sort of friends will this person have? What sort of people will this person attract?
Right.
So for me, this particular brand had to be very edgy.
Yeah.
It had to be hipsterish. It had to be relevant in 2030 and 10 years from then. It had to speak to the consumer of tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it had to break all the norms of the category, which is a big punt. Let me not just say that I knew it all. It was there was no writing on the wall saying that that's the right thing to do.
Right.
It just felt right to me.
To you, yeah.
And I went in saying that even if I can manage 5,000, 10,000 customers, I am happy.
Yeah.
Maybe there was no large market for it. Maybe it didn't work out. But I knew that I'll be able to get to some sort of customer base.
Yeah.
I had done that kind of research. I was coming from a lot of experience, learning, baggage from my previous companies. So
Right.
my previous startup. So So yeah, I think it was also a lot to do with adventure as a brand.
And it felt it.
Yeah, and I mean, when we started, we were doing these shots. We were
Yeah.
doing these sort of coffee in a tube kind of a model,
Yeah.
which was again, it was completely fresh for the industry. Even
Yeah.
today, it's very fresh.
Absolutely.
So I think the name had to justify all of that. It couldn't be, uh, I don't know, some cafe.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it came to. And then the word rage is an English dictionary word.
Yeah.
It just sticks.
It just
It's a
sticks.
4-letter dictionary
So
word.
simple, easy to roll
Yeah.
out.
And you'd never associate coffee with
with
rage.
rage. Exactly.
Like you would never associate, uh, you know, I don't know, Apple with systems.
Yeah, it just worked. No, it was really beautiful. And like I said, I remember when this came into my office and I was like, wow, this is coffee. It's interesting. And it was really cool to have that coffee back then, I remember. So you really, clearly built that brand and you saw amazing, tremendous success with it. You got somebody like Virat Kohli associated with it. How did that happen? And, what was his take and what did that do for the brand?
Okay, so that was a lot of grit, like everything else. That long shots, moon shots.
Yeah.
So we were talking to his agency at the time, and they were managing a couple of other celebrities. So we were talking to them for a while. Nothing clicked, and then I just floated on a call. I just said that it's Virat or nobody else. We're not talking if it's not Virat.
Right.
Somehow they figured out that this is the only way to do this.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a year-long process after that.
Yeah.
So on and off we were talking. The transaction has to make sense for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I think, just a moonshot and then going after it. And that's all.
Amazing. You make it sound really simple, but I know that there was a lot of grit and a lot of hard work behind it. And, at this point, like, luckily in today's day and age, Bharat, you and I are surrounded now by people who want to become entrepreneurs, right? And what would be like your top 3 or 4 insights for people who today want to get up and start their entrepreneurial journey basis your own journey?
Do it for the right reasons. I mean, that's right off the bat. There will be something that you feel about entrepreneurship, about creating something.
It's a calling. It's a mindset.
Calling. It's a mindset. Because if you're not in it for the right reasons, more often than not, you will fail.
Yeah.
And you will fail. I mean, failure is a part of building a company. I fail on a daily basis, I think, with so many things.
Yeah.
Every successful person, whatever they're doing in their lives, they fail. But that's not the point here. The point is that entrepreneurship is not necessary for you to become relevant in today's world.
That's true.
Everybody feels so. It's also a lot to do with the dynamics of this country. There's a lot of young energy.
Yeah.
So, which is very, very cool. Like, I feel that's brilliant for a country like ours.
Yeah.
But most often than not, I'm meeting a lot of founders who are doing it to sound, to look cool on social media. I'm sorry if I'm saying this like so bluntly.
Yeah.
That most often than not,
doesn't work.
That spirit will die quickly because it's easily a 3 to 4 year process. Easily. Like,
and it's hard.
It's very hard. Let me just put it that it will become harder and harder as you scale.
Absolutely.
So if it's not like that, keeda nahi hai na agar, if you don't have that,
don't feel it in your bones.
Yeah, if you don't feel it in your bones, it's and how do you know you feel it in your bones? I think the litmus test is very simple. Just if you wake up and sleep every day, every moment of your life, just thinking about what will happen if I don't create.
Yeah.
What will the world miss out on? What will me myself miss out on?
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, then I think it's better if you don't do it.
True. And you brought out a very interesting point again. Luckily, I also started my journey very long ago. And back then, when I was building 10 years ago, this was not mainstream. In fact, we had to explain to people what is an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship hota kya. People didn't know. And neither was it, so celebrated. Today, luckily, thanks to people like you and the general mood, entrepreneurship is celebrated. But there is another very real side to entrepreneurship. I think people see your successes, they see you on the podcast, they see all of this. But what they don't see is the hours and hours of hard work, a lot of lows in life, and then you picking up yourself again and again. So I want to actually go to that part of your journey. Of course, you've had such a long journey. You've built a lot of things, but you've also survived a lot of things. So, what were the biggest learnings or the lowest points of your life, and what did you take away from it? And what can, people take away from, surviving the low points of their life?
I mean, I've had so many. I have to kind of summarize it for you, but I exited Postal Gully, and I'm open talking about it now because I was completely burnt out.
Yeah.
There was so much more to do there, but I felt like I just need time off.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years of the grind as a 25-year-old gets to you.
Yeah.
It got to me at least. So I think moments of despair and like just generally feeling extremely broken, they are part of the process.
Yeah.
It's also because of the expectations people have from you. If your company is a 5 people company or it's a 500 people company, you're sitting at the top. Just, every sort of challenge that's coming in, you are responsible for it.
Yeah, the buck stops with you.
The buck stops at you. And the pressure, not everybody is able to deal with that sort of pressure.
Yeah.
When you are young and as a small company, you can make some mistakes, learn, keep growing. And that's what I did. I made a lot of mistakes, kept learning. So today, the bigger mistakes, the bigger challenges don't feel as overwhelming.
Yeah.
As overwhelming. They do still feel like, because bigger mistakes, newer mistakes keep happening. But no, the idea is to keep going. I think somehow you'll have to get yourself up because nobody else is coming to save you.
You're your own savior.
So you have to get yourself up. And the way you do that is by focusing on the good part.
Yeah.
The part that connects with your why.
Yeah.
If it was easy, then if it was that easy, then
everybody would do it.
Then we would be a country, globe full of independent workers. Like everybody would be just doing their independent shit, but it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you got to put food on the table.
Got to put food on the table and got to do it again and again, continuously. The second thing that, I want to bring up, which a lot of people ask me and I want to ask you, is that you already achieved quite a lot in life. You built 2 iconic brands, you've raised money, you've built a very phenomenal, loved brand by customers. Now, most people would say, okay, you've done your bit now, you're still young, go out, hang up your boots, invest and enjoy. But you're not doing that. You are continuously trying to innovate and build. What makes you keep going even now when you've already sort of achieved your sense of why? You've already done quite a bit. What makes you keep going even now?
First and foremost, you're being very gracious. I have not done anything worthwhile yet. Okay. I think there's a lot to be done. In my own mind, I'm maybe 1% there.
Wow.
So not at all. I feel more motivated than ever before.
Really?
I genuinely feel I'm just kind of trying. I have done some things and I'm, had my fair share of, highs and lows, but also the aspirations maybe have gone a notch higher. Of course.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, if not me, then who? The question that one needs to ask is, if my journey doesn't condense into something massive for myself, and I'm not chasing the usual, suspects. I'm not chasing any of that. So my key parameter would be impact. Like, how much of what I'm doing will impact? Maybe through love and joy, not always in a social way, but if I know my consumer, can I delight them?
Can you delight them?
And can I delight them in a way that they don't forget me?
I love that, so much of what you do is built around the customer, right? And again, you've been one of those few people that has built from the customer from a very long period of time. So from when you started to today, in 2024 and 25, what do you think is like the biggest shift in the customer that you're building for?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. We were talking about it, the timeline to building something has, or building and rather sustaining something has gone down. Every product, everything is a flavor of the season. A lot of it is contributed by social. And how people perceive life. A lot of it is also to do with the flat world that we live in. Something becoming very pop and hot in, in Germany today or in America today can come to India in a matter of days.
Days.
And these are like hardcore trends which earlier were coming to this part of the world in decades.
Took years, yeah.
Took a long time. So the world is so flat that access to information, access to knowledge, again because of social, access to the right networks and the right people, everything is condensing, everything is coming, So the playbook that one used to build something, build brands or build businesses, it's out of the window.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense today. Can you build those way brands were built in 15, 16 also, 6, 17, multi-million-dollar brands built out of India in that time period. You cannot do that today. So the playbook has to be rewritten in some sense. Also, a lot of what we're doing, commerce is going to be, that's how I feel about the world, at least in the next couple of years. Commerce will be social.
Yeah.
And if you're not relevant socially, it's hard to build a business. Especially a consumer business.
Yeah.
So, and people who know consumer businesses only, like me, you have to look at this playbook.
Absolutely. And, we were chatting earlier about relevancy, right? How relevancy used to take years to build. It was this very mythical thing. And then it took years to also come down. But like you rightly said, everything is instant gratification. And relevancy in today's day and age is a very complicated thing. What is your biggest insight about building a relevant yet socially acceptable brand for a country like India today?
See, the insight is from the consumer's lens. First and foremost, there is a founder market fit.
Yeah.
A certain kind of founder is very apt to build certain businesses, so that one needs to understand about themselves rather than thinking, yeah, this person is doing this, let me just try and do this. And it's a very easy trap to get into.
Yeah.
So to avoid that trap as a builder.
Yeah.
The second thing is, when you get into a category, when you get into a product line or whatever it is, then the product market fit also becomes very important, because your why has to be there. For example, if you are selling anything today through Instagram or through YouTube or through any of the new age channels, you also have to understand that it will be short-lived.
Wow.
There is no other way, because you are just another flavor of the season.
Wow.
So if you are building like that, and if you look at the trends in more mature markets like China and US, a founder today is running 10 businesses.
Wow.
Because they know that one of them will stop every month, giving the recurring income that they've been getting.
And you have to go on to the next. So you really can't put all your eggs in one basket.
I don't know if that is the right way to build also. So I am also still kind of exploring and learning what's the right way to build for the future. But definitely it's not the way brands or businesses were built earlier.
Yeah.
If you look at retail today, the offline retail world, it has changed so much so that it is difficult to predict what's going to happen in 2027, 2028.
Or even end of next year, especially with, I think, quick commerce and UPI and advent of internet. It's amazing. Yeah. And I think there's also a new category of customers that have come in, right? I think one of the most beautiful things about India right now is incredible consumers and brands being even built in tier 2, tier 3 cities, right?
That's the hottest.
Bharat.
That's the hottest market. And honestly, somebody who has spent considerable amount of time researching and understanding the markets there, it is not only to do with their lack of options. See, there is a tremendous amount of wealth there.
Yeah.
Now more disposable income.
Yeah.
Newer models being explored and created.
Right.
But it's also a lot to do with the hunger that those people who are living outside the metros have.
Yeah.
Their hunger to, again, the hunger to prove themselves, the hunger to make themselves count.
And deserve the best, deserve the same as everybody else.
They're building their own journeys, they're building their own cities the way, and I'm so happy to see that in my lifetime that it's happening. A lot of the smaller cities and people from smaller cities and outside the metros are doing some tremendous work.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that we were talking about earlier is when you built the brand, right? It was an anomaly to have an Indian homegrown brand being built in a market like yours. But today, there's a beautiful thing happening where Indians love homegrown Indian brands, and these Indian brands are at par with their global counterparts. You, of course, have done it before a lot of other people. What do you think is contributing to that, and what is the future of Indian homegrown brands?
The future is very bright.
Yeah.
That's the easiest and the simplest way to put it. But it's a lot to do with also, how the back end is working, how the supply chain is working.
Yeah.
See, in terms of certain innovations, we're still far behind. In terms of certain manufacturing techniques and availability of raw materials and kind of putting it all together, we're still catching up.
Right.
But why we're catching up, there is a lot happening.
Yeah.
And because the building blocks are there now, the distribution is available, there is democratization of availability of factories and availability of manufacturing units. The consumer is more open to trying out new products. So all of that is coming together, and I still feel there's a long way to go, but it's a good start. And in India, I genuinely feel that the general Indian consumer cares only about great worthiness at the best price point.
Yeah.
I don't think that they even today believe that if it's imported, it's bad, or if it's Indian, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think that is how they think.
Yeah.
It has to make sense for their wallets
Yeah.
and their aspirations.
Yeah.
If that happens, I think there is a good chance that any sort of brand can work, even if it's coming from outside of India or if it's homegrown. It has a good shot at winning.
Absolutely. And, now coming to sort of the end of our conversation, lots more to catch up on. But two things I want to understand. One is you as an entrepreneur, you are somebody who's been doing this for 10 years. What does the future look like for you? What are you most excited about?
I think most excited about the young energy of the country.
Yeah.
Most excited about possibility of building for the future. And overall, I think it's a great time to build, but build it for the right reasons.
Amazing.
That's all, yeah.
And my last question is, what would you say to your 16-year-old self, the guy who was just beginning his journey, who had a lot of spirit, what you know today, what would you say back to him?
Good
job.
Good job. Good that you were able to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
And build something so beautiful and magical. Yeah. Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much.